Boris Johnson. To start off our little rundown, who in the world is Boris Johnson? Now, that's a question for people who live under a rock. But if you're curious to know more, this guy is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and is a well-known British politician. And on top of all of that, he also served as Mayor of London for 8 years, from May 3rd of 2008 up until May 9th of 2016. Not only is he the leader of the UK, but he is also the leader of the Conservative Party since the year 2019. However, Boris Johnson was definitely caught in many messy ties and presented himself in a not-so-favorable way. However, he has also been known as one of the funniest politicians in the media for his interactions with the people outside the government. Welcome to Neapolitan. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the facts of the current Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson may not be a president or member of the royal family, but his position as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is extremely important to the country. He is the Prime Minister of Her Majesty's government and is responsible for several of the government's policies and important and major decisions. He is also the leader of the United Kingdom's government, and he is in charge of operating the civil service the government has to offer. Boris Johnson has executive power over appointing ministries and commanding the armed forces. Yeah, he is crucial to the administration in his capacity as a leader. But Boris Johnson is not a president. As we previously stated, the United Kingdom does not follow that style of governance, whereas the United States does. However, he is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom's government, which is a constitutional monarchy. We'll be looking at it broken down into 3 unique sections, like Neapolitan Ice Cream, the vanilla, the who, what, where, and one of the folks that changed the world, chocolate, that flavor punch. Controversy and adversity make lives so interesting, and the strawberry, the lasting legacy and lick that all Neapolitan lives come with. If you're interested in other videos like this, or different in-depth looks at essential people throughout history, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel with post notifications on, so you never miss a single one. Without further ado, let's get into it. Vanilla. Boris Johnson's full name is actually Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson, and he was born in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, New York City, on the 19th of June 1963. He is the son of Stanley Johnson, who then was studying economics at Columbia University, and Charlotte Fawcett, who was an artist from a family of liberal intellectuals. Boris Johnson's parents were also married just before moving to the U.S. Not long after, Boris Johnson's family returned to England for Charlotte to have a chance of studying at the University of Oxford. They lived in a summer town, a place located in the suburbs of Oxford. During this time, their family continued to grow and their daughter Rachel was born, Boris Johnson's sister. However, around a year later, Boris Johnson's family moved once again, but this time they moved to Crouch End, located in the northern parts of London. Time passed for the family, and they had to move again. Stanley, the father of Boris Johnson, was employed by the World Bank and had to relocate to Washington, D.C., where their third child was born, Leo. His family moved quite a lot. They returned back to England in the year 1969 and finally settled near Winsford in Somerset, specifically in West Netherco. He didn't grow up in poverty. In fact, he lived in a remote family home together with his siblings and mother. His father wasn't always around, and he grew up around all pairs. The British politician was said to be studious and quiet when growing up. Additionally, he also suffered from deafness and had to go through several operations when he was younger. Johnson and his siblings were also encouraged to practice high-class traditions when they were in their younger years. From all that, apparently, the previous London mayor surprisingly didn't grow up with many friends, which explains the sibling closeness. Again, it wasn't a surprise that they had to move again. The family moved in late 1969 and settled in Maida Vale, located in West London. Boris Johnson attended Winsford Village School just before he returned to London and decided to settle in Primrose Hill. During this time, the fourth child of Stanley and Charlotte was born, Joseph. Stanley then secured his employment with the European Commission and his family moved to Yuckel in April 1973. Boris Johnson then attended the European school and learned how to speak French. However, this wasn't the best year for his family. His mother, Charlotte, was hospitalized due to her diagnosis of clinical depression. This led the family to move back to England in 1975 and had to attend the Ashdown House, which was a preparatory boarding school located in the east of Sussex. Even after these hectic times, this didn't stop Boris Johnson from embracing his youth. When he moved to Sussex, he developed his interest in rugby and was doing well and excelled in ancient Greek and Latin. However, in December 1978, his parents unfortunately filed a divorce and his mother, Charlotte, moved to Notting Hill, located in London, where Boris Johnson's siblings and he himself settled as well. Boris Johnson then received a scholarship and continued his studies at Eton College. In the same year, he started introducing himself as Boris rather than his first name, Alexander. He then was also known as the eccentric English persona and built his fame around that. He also left Catholicism and became an Anglican and continued to join the Church of England. He wasn't also a very pristine student. He was often tardy and wasn't very compliant with deadlines and tasks. His life at school could honestly be mistaken for a television show. He was popular and he had the money and even extra change in his pockets. He was a wealthy boy who was friends with the upper classes. He excelled in school and excelled in English and became the secretary of his school debate team. He was also an editor in the school's newspaper and was a prefect. Boris Johnson then moved to Australia to take a gap year and taught English and Latin at Timbertop, an elite boarding school. He also took a 4-year course in the study of classics and literature. Boris Johnson also participated in his college's rugby union and was in the Balliol College team for 4 years, taking the role of tight head prop. However, he then joined the old Ethonian-dominated Bullingdon Club, which he regrets due to the fact that it's an exclusive drinking society where acts of vandalism are being encouraged by the students. This, of course, sent him in regrets due to the fact that it had made a great controversy around his name and later on made a negative impact on his career. Chocolate. Let's go on to his career and why he doesn't have a clear media record. As previously indicated, he was photographed as a member of the old Ethonian-dominated Bullingdon Club, which gave him a lot of bad press. One of Boris Johnson's recent controversies would be the Downing Street refurbishment controversy. This happened around April of 2021, when Cummings had made allegations against Boris Johnson that he had arranged a donor to secretly pay for renovations on the private residence at 11 Downing Street. Cummings took this to his blog and commented on the situation as unethical, foolish, possibly illegal, and said that Boris Johnson had certainly broke the rules. On the same day, Boris Johnson made a statement and defended himself, saying that he had not broken any laws. This also led the situation to a formal investigation by the police and court. On May 28th, a public report was published and it concluded that Johnson did not breach the ministerial code, nor did he have any conflict. However, on the 9th of December, it was discovered that the Conservative Party did in fact fail to obey the law. It was said that Boris Johnson had given misleading information during the investigation and his inconsistent reports. They still continued to deny the allegations further. Next on the list would be the 2021 energy crisis. In September of 2021, a problem occurred with the fuel supply. This ultimately caused a panic in the media, and conversations between government officials were leaked all over social media. In the leaked conversations, discussions about the shortage of heavy goods vehicle drivers and the rise in energy prices were mentioned. Boris Johnson said that a short-term problem occurred due to COVID-19. Next up, we'll be diving into the Owen Paterson controversy. In November of 2021, Boris Johnson made a decision to suspend Owen Paterson, a Conservative MP that was found abusing his position as the Independent Standards Commissioner. It was said that he was undertaking paid lobbying on behalf of 2 companies. This led to an investigation. Various Conservative MPs refused to give support to the motion. They decided to boycott the new committee, and after this action, they were given backlash by the media. This led them to a new voting round and announced the resignation of Paterson as an MP on the same day. Next on the list for the chocolate section, Boris Johnson was called out by various news media outlets for making unacceptable racial comments and has said multiple Islamophobic remarks. In August of 2018, an article by Boris Johnson was published. The article he wrote talked about the newly implemented Danish law that went against wearing the burqa of niqab an outer garment that is used to cover a woman's body or face. He then commented ridiculous remarks about women who wear the burqas and niqabs. He said that it's absolutely ridiculous that people should choose to go around looking like letterboxes. He then further blabbered his mouth and said if a female student turned up at a school or a university lecture looking like a bank robber, and that he should feel fully entitled to ask her to remove it so that he could talk to her properly. It honestly just gets worse from there. He was then told to apologize for his ridiculous actions. However, half of the people in the panel voted for him to not apologize. They went on and said that his remarks weren't racist, and this made the situation far worse than how terrible it was already. Strawberry. Now that we've covered some of his controversial and questionable actions, let's get to the strawberry part. Brexit has made its way back to Boris Johnson's career. The media says that it still continues to haunt him as the Prime Minister of the UK. Now, what deal did he make to make this situation difficult? The Brexit Withdrawal Agreement, formerly titled Agreement on the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland's Withdrawal from the European Union and the European Atomic Energy Community, is a treaty signed on January 24, 2020, between the European Union and the United Kingdom. This was definitely a turn for the UK, considering that this was a significant event in their history, and human rights are at stake. People mention that if Boris Johnson makes a wrong decision, hell breaks loose for the United Kingdom. What are Boris Johnson's thoughts on COVID-19? After the draining lockdowns the world has experienced, Boris Johnson has declared to lift all coronavirus restrictions in England and said to live with COVID. He also mentioned that it's mandatory to practice self-isolation for people who have been infected with the virus. There are also free test kits available if needed. The UK government is also offering extra booster shots to the vulnerable. Now, what is Boris Johnson's insight on Ukraine and the Russian war? He said that he supports Ukraine and that he stands with the country. It was also said that when he was on a phone call with President Vladimir Putin, Russia's current president, he urged him to avoid bloodshed, and they both agreed on a peaceful resolution. On the 20th of February, Johnson announced, or rather warned the UK that Russia is planning the biggest war in Europe. If you like this video and want to see more like it, then make sure to leave a like so we know what you think and can continue to bring you the kind of videos you want to see. Let us know if you think there was anything we missed or if you'd like to see someone in particular in the future. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the material we've shown or other videos like this. Check out the other videos on this channel for fascinating looks into historical figures, just like this. Until next time, this has been Neapolitan, and we'll see you around.